Angel. Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. We have some new subscribers that are coming onto our channel today. I sponsored Archaix's last live stream, which was yesterday, and it just so happened to be about the number 138 and phi, and it was all very synchronous and beautiful. And so those of you that are new to my channel, you are in for a real treat today, because we are going to go over Venus. We're going to go over phi, we're going to go over pi, we're going to go over the fine structure constant, we're going to go through Venus's beautiful celestial cycle, we're going to decode what it all means. And then at the end of it all, we're actually going to examine tomorrow specifically, because today Venus moves into retrograde, but tomorrow she actually is full force moving. So today we're stationing, tomorrow we're moving. And so tomorrow marks the beginning of this greater, more dynamic phase of Venus that we're going to dive into. So we're going to look at tomorrow specifically. It is 21 days away from the Pisces Venus Star Point, which I'll explain that too if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then once we go through all of that, I am going to show you the precise degrees where Venus will be going retrograde in the constellational sky. And as a treat for those of you that have never done constellational astrology before, maybe you were into tropical, maybe you were raised on that, I will also give you the degrees Venus is moving in tropical, just so you can play along with us. But on this channel, we're doing constellational astrology. We are still using the same archetypes that we know in astrology. Aries is still Aries. It's just Aries has shifted a little bit in the cosmos. And the whole reasoning behind this is because we want to align with the natural sky. That's what we're here to do. It's as above, so below. And the tropical is good for things like seasons and equinoxes and moon phases and things like that, and is useful for those sorts of things. But if you really want to know where your soul's aligned, where you fit into this big cosmic jigsaw puzzle, what is your part in the code of the universe, then you really want to know where you are in the actual sky. So that's what we do here on this channel, and it's a lot of fun. So it's all love and light here. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where your Venus is. And let's see who's here. We have 15 in the chat. That's pretty good for a Friday afternoon. Friday is Venus's day. Yes, yes. Let's see. We have Ultimus. Thank you for being here. He says, greetings, starseeds. Brian Hardy is here, pointing at me with a heart and a little angel halo. You are an angel. Harmony Goddess is here. She has Venus in Aries in the 5th house. Christine Yan is here. Grand day, Dr. Danny. And Laurie is here from Washington. Hello, my dear. Sugar Sigma is here and has Venus in the 6th house in Sagittarius. Desiree's here. Hi, Des. And then let's see. Yeah, Archaix played my ad 3 times. The first time it was kind of through his microphone, so it didn't sound really good. And then towards the end, he played it for real. And then instead of doing his normal outro, he played my ad again. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I've gotten a few emails, so it was worth it. And I support his work. I think he works very hard. The knowledge that he's come up with is quite disturbing. If you think about the actual history of the world and what we're taught, and then this whole new cosmology or new history that's coming out where it's 20, 30,000 years ago, there was, some culture building things, but his whole argument is that we just don't have the records for that. There's just no data to prove that, there was civilization here 20, 30,000 years ago. Whether there is or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. It really doesn't matter to me. It doesn't change my life. But, if we're going just on history, then our history would appear to go through cycles. and cycles that are actually aligned to the cosmos. I actually kind of tease Jason sometimes. I say he's an astrologer in the closet. So that's fun. All right, let's see. John Doe has Venus in Libra. Desiree has Venus. Desiree, you have Venus. You have Virgo, everything. Like, I think your Venus is in there, your Mars, your Sun. All right. Cooley High says, howdy from one with Venus and Taurus in the 11th house. Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, let me just get through a couple of quick announcements. My links are all below. So if you need a reading, you want to take a course, you want to email me, all that's down below. There is a playlist that this particular video will be going in along with 4 other videos that we've already done. And this timeline that we're looking at today began back in like December. So we've been decoding it piece by piece and building on some of the themes that we've been looking at. So I encourage you to go back and check that out. That link is also down there. Please join the Fellowship of 13 Signs if you're on Facebook and you want to get connected with other constellational astrologers and people interested in learning this kind of astrology. I think it's really important. I think the more and more we get out of line with the actual stars, and this is a real slow process, guys. 1 degree every 72 years. That's how far the stars drift westward. And we've drifted about 21 to 24 degrees from when tropical astrology was originally conceived. So Aries was the first day of spring. Now the first day of spring is actually in Pisces. The sun right now is in Aquarius, not Pisces. So that's what we're doing. So check out all those links below. If you need an eclipse reading, you need a Venus reading, you just want a natal chart reading, just go ahead and check that down below. Those of you in Stellar Foundations, email me before you do, though, because you guys get big discounts. And then those of you who I know already, or I've already read your chart and you want to do something, I can also get you a discount too. Thing two, I talked to Athen Comenti of Mastering the Zodiac yesterday. We had a fantastic conversation. I am putting that together for you. It'll probably premiere on Sunday morning, so you guys can check that out. He's the one who, with Gavin Burns, put together Capricorn Prometheus software and got the boundaries all set up for the constellational astrology that we do. He also does readings. He also teaches. He's literally like the OG of constellational astrology. So that I'm very excited. And I've also been invited onto his live stream. I don't know which Sunday we're going to do. We have yet to nail that down. So that's a big deal. That's cool. And then my other project I'm still working on, I can't talk about yet, but it's going to be great. And then I've also decided on when we're going to do the Chiron class, because that is the last of the planets that I haven't done yet in my individual course series. So I've come up with a date for that. So stay tuned for announcements on the Chiron class. It'll be our typical format that we've been doing over the last year, where you guys will come to a live group session with me and we will talk about Chiron. I'll teach you Chiron. We'll look at each other's charts if that's needed. And then you will get a resource document and then a meditation to go with it. So these courses are pretty cool. So stay tuned for that announcement. And I think that's all I have. So let's see. So yeah, we'll get Sunday, you guys will get Athens interview. And then next week, I'm going to publish the shorts for the reads for the houses through Pisces that we're going to do today. So you guys will get the shorts. Cool. All right. Y'all want to jump into this? Let's see. Sonia K is here. Nature's Place is here. Awesome. So good to see all of you. I'm so excited. I love doing these lives. And I love Friday lives too. Let's see. How was everybody's new moon? Did you guys do okay with that? It felt like a breath of fresh air. Like all of a sudden, like the curtain opened up and I could just see the whole sky, and it felt really good. It felt really, really good. I'm excited about this eclipse season. I think it's going to be a little chaotic though, but maybe if we focus on some Venus energy, we'll do well. Let's do this first. Let me take you through what I use for my decoding resources. That way you guys, if you want to do any decoding, you can do it too. I have this collection of images here, the days of the year. I also have the cards of illumination birthday chart. So you can go and look at your birthday and see what card is yours. I also have the numbered deck of cards, the numbered deck of the tarot, and the life configuration, spirit configuration for the cards, as well as the medicine deck. So all of these you can download yourself right here at cosmicsugar.org under resources. Okay. And you can have that too. Now, for the numerology of words and dates and things like that, Decoda.co is probably the best cipher website on the planet, in the whole solar system right now. So you can go here, and there's hundreds of ciphers to choose from. We are using the Phi cipher today because this is just amazing. When you type in 13, you get 33, and it's probably the best cipher for astrology. And as we go through this video, you guys will understand why this cipher is so important, because it directly relates to Venus and the way that her cycle and Earth cycle and the sun cycle all interplay with one another, and they create this sacred geometry in the sky. So it's pretty amazing. So we'll be doing that. You can go to subidium.com in order to get the string of pi and string of phi. So I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 137. I want to say, let me do it this way because this is pretty cool. 137. Oh, no, it was 317. That's it. I'll be showing you this later. But 317 is the 137th decimal digit of the golden ratio. 137 is the number of the fine structure constant. 138 is the orbit of the Phoenix cycle, and that they do on Archaics that he talks about there. And all the planets can be reduced in some form or fashion to 138 as well. So there's a lot of connections here between how the planets are describing the cycles, the coding in our cosmos, in this machinery that we exist in. And it's really, really quite fascinating. So you can use that. And then number empire is fun because you can just put in any number and get all kinds of information on it. Like 41 is the 13th prime, and that's useful. So we'll use some of that. Also in numerology, you can take any number and associate it with an element, and you've got an atomic number and an element number, and it's pretty cool. So I think we use a few of those today. So I just want to make sure that, that you guys know that you can do this kind of work too. I learned all of this from Logan at Decode Your Reality. Quite an amazing person, a beautiful soul, and he teaches this. So I've incorporated it into my astrology work, and it's unlocked a whole lot of amazing coincidences and synchronicities for me. So I'm so excited to share it with you guys. All right, let's get into the astrology. So let's look at the sky. That's a great place to start. This was the new moon. That was yesterday. Like I said, I feel pretty fantastic about that new moon. Yeah, I'm just looking. Desiree says her moon's been relaxing. Brian says his new moon was amazing. Let's see. Diana Allen is here. Ultima says the doc is a tad busy. Oh yeah, I'm working it. I am working it. I think the more people that can do this kind of astrology, or at least use it, I think the world will be a better place. I really, really do. So here's the new moon. This was a sun moon in Aquarius. We read this through your houses depending on your sun sign last time. So if your birthday is right around nowish, then you are completing a greater 13 lunation solar lunar cycle. You're about to start a new 13-month solar lunar cycle. It's your solar return, but you also get a new moon with it, right? And then we discussed where, like if your sun's not, like mine's in Cancer, this is an 8th house new moon for me. So there's a transformation here, the light at the end of the tunnel. So this lunation for me is about kind of finally bringing to bear the realization of the creative work and the creative energy that I've been putting into all of my projects. This lies square in my 10th and 11th house. So this is how I am working with this energy. This is today, so you can see how the moon's moved just a little bit. We'll zoom in a bit, and we now have a very nice close Moon-Saturn conjunction in the stars of Pisces. So Mercury went from, or the moon went from Aquarius to Pisces pretty quickly. This energy is so like dreamy and creative and mystical and spiritual. And Saturn moving in there, who's all about time and structures and foundations and following the rules, I feel is like loosening up a little bit. I know that I've gotten a lot. It's harder for me to get my dates and times right now. And I'm not sure why. I've sent out several emails with the wrong date. I put out the email for this yesterday with yesterday's date instead of today's date. So I attribute that to Mercury energy and moon energy and all this stuff just sort of gently moving into the stars of Pisces. It's just dreamy here. It's like, okay, well, I guess it'll start when it starts. Now, the sun will be here in just a few days too. On the 9th of March, the sun will move into the stars of Pisces. So everything is moving into the space, piling up and getting around our friend Venus. And here she is today, stationing. And then tomorrow, she's going to start moving backwards. So what I thought we'd do is animate this a little bit. And I want you to watch this planet right here and the sun. And what you'll notice is instead of Venus moving in this direction, away from the sun, she's going to start moving towards the sun, from our perspective anyway. So you see that? They're getting closer and closer and closer. Mercury also stations retrograde right here too. And then there you have it. This is what's called the Venus Star Point. The Venus Star Point is basically this conjunction where Venus is on our side of the sun. So instead of being way on the other side of the sun, she is in front of us between Earth and sun. This is the closest planet Venus will ever get to Earth. This is the closest planet that will ever get to Earth. And you want to talk about sister planets? Venus's day is longer than her year. So the sun rises and sets in 243 Earth days, but her orbit takes 224 days. So she's in this almost tidally locked energy between the Earth and the sun, where the same face of Venus faces the Earth whenever this particular conjunction happens. It's happening precisely on the 22nd, and this is the day we're counting down to. So March 1st is 21 days away from this day. And so just follow me here. I'm going to explain all of this. 21 days is a Fibonacci number. 13 is a Fibonacci number. 8 is a Fibonacci number. And we are counting down in that way till we get to day 0, which is March 22nd. Okay, so that's what we are counting down to. But on this day in particular, which is today and tomorrow, which this is the day we're talking about, we have a Moon-Venus conjunction. And I want you guys tomorrow evening, if you can, if you have clear skies, to go outside right after sunset and check this out. You're going to have a very thin sliver of the moon. It's going to be kind of the bright side will be facing sort of down and to the right. But it's such a spectacular sight when you see a waxing crescent moon next to evening star Venus. It really, really, really is so incredibly beautiful. And then I want you to look straight up and almost strain your neck back a little bit, because what you'll see is, let's take this down to sunset. What you'll see is Jupiter and Venus in this very nice, very stable sextile that will last another week. And sextiles are opportunities to use the best energy of both of these planets. Venus in Pisces, this is Jupiter's traditional house. So you have expansion, abundance, spirituality, creativity, inspiration. This is opening up the creative channel, the third eye to spirit, and just letting whatever creative process comes through. And I am definitely experiencing this 100%. I'm getting all kinds of amazing visions about how to characterize Venus and Pisces. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go through the presentation. But that sextile, so then you got Jupiter in Taurus, which is the house of the stuff we value. It's also Venus's rulership. So they're in each other's houses, basically. Jupiter's in Venus's house and Venus is in Jupiter's house. And they're in this very, very nice and benefic aspect to one another. So I love this. Let me make sure I'm on the right screen with you guys. Yeah, I am. Good. So then you crane your neck back a little bit more and you're going to see this little triangle between the stars of Castor and Pollux and Mars and Gemini, who's now direct. Okay, so all this really, really gorgeous energy. This is the lineup that the astronomers and meteorologists are getting everybody excited about right now. So if you're seeing that meme out there where there's this celestial lineup, once in a lifetime thing to watch, this is what they're talking about. There isn't actually a grand conjunction like you would see with the solar system. It's just you can see a parade of planets, and it will be directly after sunset. So that's the sky. That's what we are analyzing. And what I'd like to do now is back up, jump off the earth. I want to jump off of the realm that we live in and into a perspective realm where we can see all of the bodies, where we can see Earth's entire family, the other levels of our existence, so to speak. So if you believe in a flat plane Earth, then this might go against what you think, and that's okay. In my simulation, we exist here, but it's more like a first person graphical interface, right? This is the level we're on, and when I zoom in, when I get down into that level, it's a surface kind of a level. Okay, it's just a flat area, but outside of it, within the family of planets, this is what Earth looks like. And on this particular day, March 22nd, when Venus and Earth line up like we saw in the sky, because remember, guys, we were looking at stellarium from Earth's perspective. So we're seeing Venus and Sun in a conjunction. Well, this is what it looks like from space. Venus is right here. Now, Venus will be here for a very short time. Her retrograde period lasts until April 12th, at which point she will move back around the sun. And on January of next year, her cycle will be complete. But the reason retrograde is so incredibly important, do you see that? You see how Venus is now on the other side? This is like a new moon for Venus. This is a new cycle. But where we are now is the peak. It's the climax. It's the birth moment for the Venus cycle. So that's what I wanted to show you. So you can see it. So the way that we're going to go through the phases of Venus's cycle is from this view, from the view of an observer standing on Earth, and then also by examining a chart. So you'll have 3 different ways to process the way these planets move and how we work with them in astronomy and astrology. So that's why I wanted to take time to go through all of this with you guys so that you did understand that. All right, let's get into this presentation so that we can talk about all of that. And then I want to briefly describe this image for you. As you can see, you see the white serpent there, the white snake, the nagas. I have a history with this visual imagery. About a year ago, I made a huge decision to literally leave the kind of job I was doing that I had been doing for 12, 15 years and do the same kind of work, but in a different setting. So I went from, clinic and call and surgeries and managing an office to just doing shift work and emergency work for obstetrics. It was a profound shift. I had a weekly schedule. I knew it was Monday through Friday was kind of my jam. And now it's so different. And for me to take that leap was pretty huge. And the moment I decided to do that, I was in my meditative state, just kind of, I call it God mode, graphics on demand, God mode. I'm sort of laying there, imagining my future. And all of a sudden I feel this pressure, a light pressure on my chest, and I gaze, and it is a white snake, a beautiful white snake with golden patterns, red eyes, a really nice energy, nothing scary, satanic, or evil about it at all. It just felt like a good omen. And in fact, it happened to be a good omen. Ever since then, I have been coming more and more into alignment with my purpose, with my creative energy, living in more of a flow, not really worrying about so much like exactly what time it is or what day of the week it is. It doesn't really matter because there's waves of influence, waves of energy that we can watch through the stars. So this imagery has been very, very powerful for me. And then very recently, maybe about a month ago, maybe 2 months now, I did a reading, or somebody did a reading for me, and the word Nagas came up. And that's the serpent people of Hindu. These were half deity, half human, and they were characterized as serpent people. Okay, so I dove into that, and I found a lot of similarities between, their pantheon of Nagas and the pantheon that we have available in other mythologies. So I thought, okay, let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit. And I did a healing session with someone, and this image came up. It was in the theta state, and I saw this image of this white serpent. So I'm still trying to decode. I'm trying to figure out, why does this keep coming to me? I did a drum circle event with some lady friends of mine. And again, I saw these. I saw the nagas, the white serpents. Okay. Serpent light language has come through me in the last few weeks. And so I think I've kind of come to an idea of what it may mean. I've often taught that Venus doesn't really relate to any chakras. She's more of an energy of what the fourth dimensional light that flows through our chakras, right? The connection, the divine co-creation between matter and energy. And that's what her symbol means. It's a circle over a cross. So it's spirit into matter. And when I think of that white liquid light, all of a sudden it is the white serpent. Because that energy is typically associated with serpentine energy because of the way that it moves and the way that it flows. And so for Venus in Pisces, because it feels so creative and unusual, which is Neptune's realm and the realm of Pisces, I really feel like this embodies that energy. Venus in Pisces is the creative source, the creative force that flows through us when we're willing and when we surrender. Okay? So that's why I have these images of the white serpent. That's why we channeled that light language. And this is all in love and light. This is not to summon any demons or to go against anyone's religious or spiritual practices. I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit I had some resistance to it. But at the same time, it doesn't feel evil. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like it's very inspiring and freeing. So let's go on this journey. The Fibonacci sequence is associated with, actually, you know what? Before I get into this, guys, I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint presentation because I did promise you that I would explain some other things first. So let me do that. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second, get that set up, chat with you guys for a moment. And let me open up this website. Many of you have seen this before, so this will not be a surprise what I'm going to show you. But for those of you that are new, this will blow your mind. So let me get it. Gotta go back a little bit. Maybe watch later. That where I hide it. Yes, there it is. Okay. All right, bear with me, guys. Bringing it up. I forgot to do this before we went live, so here we go. All right, I'm going to set it up there. We're going to keep the volume off. We're going to pause. We're going to go at double the speed. And then we're going to go share the screen. Okay. How's my sound? Am I in sync? Every now and then I catch this thing jumping out. So, okay, here we go. Entire screen. Okay. All right, what you are looking at, guys, is the Earth in the middle. So I'm giving you geocentric, I'm giving you heliocentric, I'm giving you flat Earth, I'm giving you planetary model. You're getting it all. Astrology works in all of it, guys. So Earth is right here in the middle. Sun is right here, this yellow circle. And then Venus is this pink circle. And what we are going to watch is the orbital pattern of Venus, and she's going to trace a line. So watch this. This is amazing. Here she goes. This loop right here is the retrograde loop. That's the inferior conjunction right there. This right here is the superior conjunction. Beginning of the cycle. Climaxing, swelling, bursting, disseminating, and then preparing for the next cycle. And that's what we're doing here. It's very similar to that moon energy where you start with a new moon where there's fresh energy, fresh intentions, then it swells and it bursts and it disseminates and then it prepares for the next cycle. And that's exactly what this cycle does. Do you see what's being traced here, everybody? Do you see that? This is amazing. Once this last star point is done, you're going to see it. What is that? It's a star. It's the pentagram. It's the 5-pointed star that we draw when we're kids. So you have the number 5, which is very, very important. Did you notice how many times the sun went around Earth? went around 8 times. Did you notice how many times Venus went around the sun? 13 times. If you want, just rewind and play that again. If you don't believe me, you can count it yourself. But a 5-pointed star is traced in 8 years in 13 Venus orbits. This is like the Etch-a-Sketch that we used to have as kids, right? This is actually being generated in our skies every 8 years. And these star points in the specific constellations also occur every 8 years. They're rare events. The distance between 2 star points is 20 months. So it's 20 months, 20 months, 20 months, 20. It actually goes 20 months, I think 20 months, 20 months, 20 months, 20 months, like that. But the whole cycle, that whole star, takes 8 years to create. So one of the things you can do if you're facing a Venus retrograde and an astrologer is telling you about this and you had no idea this was happening, is you can think back 8 years ago to anything in the realm of relationships, creativity, harmony, beauty, artistry, any of those realms of your life. If you look back and think what changed, what was chaotic, what shifted for me 8 years ago, that might be helpful because you may go through the same energy again or some form of manifestation of it. Okay. The other thing we're going to do for this retrograde is you're going to go to the free chart on my website and you're going to put in your birth date and time and location, and you're going to find out what house Pisces is in for you, or early part of Pisces, and I'll give you the degrees. And look at the house. That's the house, and that's what you're going to want to listen to at the end of this presentation. Because and that's the best I can do for a general collective reading. If you really want to go deep and you really want to understand how this will affect you personally, I highly recommend either the eclipse reading or the Venus forecast, because both of those will give you not only the eclipse energy, because this is happening in between the 2 eclipses, guys, between the lunar eclipse on the 13th and 14th and the solar eclipse on the 29th. So this is kind of an important time. I feel like simply because not only will Venus be retrograde with 2 eclipses, but Mercury will also be retrograde. So it's a big wave. And that's why there's a wave on that PowerPoint with that serpent sitting there, because this creative energy is being pulled up and being sucked into that big tidal wave. Imagine standing on a beach and all of a sudden it's being drawn backwards and you can just see it. The wave is building and building and building. And that's what we are watching literally. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing. I'm just saying get ready for big energy. Venus can be a great planet too. And chaos isn't always a bad thing. All right, let me get back into this because this slide should make more sense. So the numbers that I told you, 5, 8, and 13, are part of the Fibonacci sequence. We'll look at what that looks like here shortly. When you dive into the Fibonacci sequence, where that came from, it came from a man named Leonardo Fibonacci. Fibonacci in the Phi cipher is 45. White Nagas is 45. 45 is the 21st decimal in the golden ratio string of digits. Phi is 21 in the Phi cipher. Pattern is 21 in the Phi cipher, and scandium connects 21 and 45, just as this string does. So there's all these really amazing synchronicities and connections between the actual ciphers that we're using, the constants that are existing in nature, and the energy of this planet in this constellation. So let's get into this. This is the timeline we're working on. This little symbol right here is when Venus switches from evening star to morning star. So what I've done is I've inverted her symbol. So you have 2 Venus symbols here, one on top of the other. One is upside down and one's right side up. This looks very much like the Vesica Pisces, doesn't it? You have that one circle going this way and one circle going this way. So it's quite spectacular. This is the date we're counting down to. This is the day that Venus moves retrograde and that we're going to analyze. Now, you saw that video. I also have a short for Venus's full cycle for this particular cycle that we are in. It started on June 4th of 2024 and it will end on January 6th of 2026. If you want to go to my shorts tab there on my channel, you can watch through the chart this entire transit. So this is the current Venus cycle. This is what we're going to go through. It's 20 months. It lasts 584 days. June 4th was the superior conjunction with the sun, which was in Taurus. And that was when Venus switched from morning star to evening star. In January, on the 10th, we experienced what's called the maximum eastern elongation. That was in Aquarius. This was the farthest away from the sun that Venus will ever get. It's the brightest too. So it's when Venus kind of comes back around from the backside of the sun, and you can really see the brightness of reflecting off of her clouds. Now, today is when Venus stations retrograde for 42 days, and that's where we are right now. The Venus Star Point is what we're counting down to. We're 21 days away. This is an inferior conjunction with the sun, switching to morning star. This energy is death and rebirth, or it's birth and dissemination. Either way, there's going to be a shift when this happens. It's just the way the planetary energy aligns. On the 11th, actually the 12th, she'll station direct. On the 31st of May, we will have a maximum western elongation. That's the highest the morning star will get. Okay. And then our next superior conjunction is in January. This is a great time to start your new creative projects. That's precisely what I did. I said, I am going to really build out my school. And then by the time we're there, I'm in the middle of Stellar Foundations. We're right in the center of the course. And the course, I think, ends the same day Venus stations direct. And so now Stellar Foundations will be what it is. It's no longer my baby. It's everybody's baby that's been in it, if that makes sense. So I did this sort of aligned with the stars, somewhat consciously, but at the same time, everything fell into line as easily as it could have because I was following the flow of this energy. Here's my Venus intensiotogram. This is basically just a fancy word to show you intensity of the planetary energy over time through the cycle. So the x-axis here is time and the y-axis is intensity. This is not drawn to scale. The green lines show you the distance of 584 days between superior conjunctions with the inferior conjunction in the middle. You can see your key up here so you know what these abbreviations mean. So maximum eastern elongation, that was January 10th. Maximum western elongation, that will be in May. Venus is going to be in Pisces for a long time. We are here. So we are at the very beginning. We are at the foothills of this mountain of intense energy that's coming our way in the next 3 weeks. So I wanted you to see it graphically as well, because I know a lot of you learn either graphically or by words, or we all learn different ways. And so this is a nice way of thinking about how the intensity will come. This whole period of time from station retrograde to station direct is 42 days. So this is not drawn to scale. This time frame from superior conjunction to station retrograde is probably like 3 times as long. This is only about 4 months of the 20-month cycle. Okay? And I put Earth up here because this is also the distance to Earth. So we're farthest away here, and then we're closest when Venus is here. Okay? She's so close she can actually affect our gravity, guys. I mean, that's, you know, how the moon affects our tides. The moon has a very, very strong gravitational effect on our tides. Venus is a fraction of it, but yet it is still measurable and it is still there. It's fascinating. So I'm going to describe each of these cycles, what the energy is going to feel like. We're just going to briefly run through it, and then we're going to get into the meat of it. So here's the different ways we can look at it, okay? This was when this cycle started. It started on June 4th of 2024 when Venus was all the way on the other side of the sun. We couldn't see her. There was no creative juices flowing. It's like a new moon. It's like a time to go inward and then to eventually evolve outward. Think of a plant pushing through the soil. It's at its seed point right now. Here's what the chart looked like, and here's what the sky looked like. So you had Venus and Mercury and Sun and Jupiter and Uranus all together last year, right here. This was actually really cool because this was a new moon as well. When we move into the next cycle, which was the maximum eastern elongation, this was January 10th. So Venus has gone from back here to all the way over here. Here's what she looked like in the sky. She was close to Saturn at that point. She just passed over Saturn not too long ago. And then here you can see it in the chart and in the sky. So that's the highest that Venus, or the farthest that Venus got away from the sun. You can actually count these degrees, these hashtags between Sun and Venus. and you can know her degree of elongation. So here we are. We are at station retrograde. We are kind of at the bottom of the hill looking upward. We're about to start moving up that hill. And here is where Venus is. Here you can see it in the sky. She's about to turn retrograde. She's at 21 degrees. Isn't that interesting? 21 degrees. That's if you put Nagas in the Phi cipher, you get 21. So that's interesting. All right. And then we are counting down to the inferior conjunction. This is March 22nd. So this is next. We have 21 days to go. This is what it'll look like in the sky. This is amazing. You're going to have this lineup. So it's actually when we have the new moon during this particular month, when that new moon comes through here, you're going to have Earth, Moon, Venus, Mercury, then Sun. So the sun's light's going to have to filter through Mercury, Venus, the moon to get to us. It's kind of amazing. I want you to think of this particular point in the cycle as the delivery, right? So if we go back in time to the beginning of Venus's cycle, this would be June 4th, the superior conjunction. This is the conception. Like, I'm going to create a school for astrology. Okay, so you keep working, you keep formulating ideas. Nothing really much happens in that first chart. Notice how this is 10 months, 10 sections. That's about the length of this part of the cycle, from the superior conjunction to the inferior conjunction, which is 322. So now the thing is finally going to birth. And we are here. We are in this last month of pregnancy. Ladies, tell us in the chat how that last month usually goes. I take care of women in this phase all the time. It's not always comfortable. You feel a little anxious, a little weird in your skin. You're ready to just kind of have this kid and get back to your sort of normal shape and life and everything like that. So this is the inferior conjunction. So think of the beginning of the Venus cycle as the conception, the inferior conjunction, what we're counting down to as the birth. So we are really close to the birth of some amazing creative energy. And then afterwards, after the birth, there's, everybody forgets after the baby's born, there's still some energy that has to be dealt with, right? Like it doesn't just end and, everybody walks away and leaves you alone with this baby, but there's a full cycle. This is just half of that cycle. The rest of the cycle. So once these dandelion, you can think of a dandelion, we're here right now. And when the dandelion starts to disperse its seeds, that will be the post inferior conjunction energy. So disperse the seeds so that they can plant and grab their ground. And then this will be 1/6 of 26, where the next superior conjunction happens. And you can start a new creative cycle. So listen, for those of you just joining me and you're like, holy crap, I missed all this. I didn't get a chance back in January to start my creative cycle. Venus keeps doing this. Every 20 months, we're going to have a new cycle start over and over again. If you've done part of it unconsciously, something's coming through for you. You've gestated something. So what that is, well, we have to look at your house to see that. So hopefully the end of this presentation will help you with that if you're unclear as to how this cycle may have started for you. And then I would highly recommend that you follow my Venus videos, because we've been doing this now for 3 years, watching the Venus cycles consciously, and it's really, really powerful. Really powerful. This is a rebirth cycle, which if you put rebirth in the Phi cipher is 33. So I love that. So now we get a little bit further in time. Venus will station direct on April 11th or 12th, and then we will be in that full dissemination phase. And here's what it looks like from space, from the sky, and in the chart. Look, she's still in Pisces, and she's stationing direct. Okay, so there's her little tick mark, and she's stationing direct. All right. Then we get to the maximum western elongation. You can see that in the sky, on the chart, and in the space. And then we complete the cycle once again, starting a new one on January 6th of next year. So we're in it. We're in the middle of it. We're right here. We're going to get into this. This is the, again, just think of this as a swelling energy, kind of like we're approaching a full moon, only it's much more drawn out. I probably should have put this slide way at the beginning, but but at any rate, here is the Fibonacci sequence that I've been referring to. Here's how you calculate each number in the Fibonacci sequence. You basically add the last 2 digits to get the next one. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. So there it is, our 5, 8, and 13. 21 is one of those dates. Phi is 21. Here's our Phi cipher. Okay, and you can get, what happens is this creates a ratio for you called the golden ratio. So whenever you take the previous number and divide it into the next number, so for example, if you take 8 and divide it into 13, or if you take 13 and divide it into 21, you're going to get 1.618. And the farther you go out in the Fibonacci sequence, the closer you get to infinity, the more and more irrational this number gets. And so then we have this Phi cipher where it's 1.618, and it keeps going till the 26th letter in our alphabet. So that's what Phi is. That's what the golden ratio is. It comes from the Fibonacci sequence. We are counting down to that date here using the Fibonacci sequence. And here's where it's going. Here's where you're probably going to go, oh my God, wow. Because I went ahead and I put the dates on this timeline. So you can see we're 21 days from the Venus Star Point, and then it goes forward and backward in time, in linear time, even though linear time isn't real, right, guys? So here's that spiral. You can also, so we go, that's one direction in time. Here's another direction in time. But remember, astrological energy is 4th dimensional. Okay, we're not dealing with stuff we can see. It's in the hidden dimension. So what if we thought 4-dimensionally and we tried to represent that in the waves of energy? This is what came through for me last night. I'm looking at it. I'm like, holy crap. This looks like the third eye. This is the chakra symbol that you see in Hindu literature for the third eye, the Anja chakra, right? I mean, at least that's what it looks like to me. I went ahead and I kind of got this graphic here so you could see what they look like. And this one right here is the Anja chakra. So, wow. So now we're third eye, Pisces, visions, Fibonacci sequence. It all just seems so incredibly profound because these spirals exist in nature. They code everything. Spirals, the way planets work with each other, the way the petals in a flower work with each other, the way plants grow, the way embryos grow, the way everything spirals is related to this Fibonacci sequence and this golden ratio. So we're going to day 21. Another thing that you need to understand is pi. Most people know about pi. It's essentially the constant that gives you the circumference and a diameter of a circle. So if you know, let's say the circumference of a circle, you can calculate its diameter using pi and vice versa. But the ratio between a circumference and a diameter will always be pi. And this is also an irrational number. This is also a number that you can use to decode. And it represents the circle. So when we put pi and phi together, we get the spiraling circle, which, guys, this is really what cycles are all about. It's not just about going from one point of the circle and coming back to the beginning. It's about spiraling upward and outward. And that Fibonacci and that golden ratio are a big part of that. There's also a constant called the fine structure constant that seems to be 137-ish, 138-ish. And it is finely tuned for our universe. And to explain how they calculate it is a little bit difficult and out of the scope of this conversation. But understand that it's a constant that is born out of ratios at the Planck scale, at the very, very, very tiny, at the level of the quantum foam. And so when you get into quantum mechanics, this number pops up a lot. And then, of course, Jason at Archaics notes the 38-year periodicity of the Phoenix cycle. He's even gone so far as to say that the fine structure constant is the Phoenix phenomenon. So I'm good with that. Cool things about this number is in numerology, you can transpose digits, and 317 is 137 in pi, and 138 is 381 in pi. So pi is tied to this with this knowing right here. Now, 137 is also the 33rd prime. Okay, and we've seen 33 a couple of times. Pi and phi together is 33 also. 33 on YouTube Live. What a coincidence. The fine structure constant, if you spell that in the phi cipher, is 79. 79 is the 13th decimal digit of pi. 13 is 33. So do you see this? These are why when you connect with the sky, when you realign with the actual cosmos, synchronicities will come to you by the dozen daily. I mean, I used to try and tell people about them, but they were so numerous that all I could do was just laugh and smile like I knew a secret. But now because of this, because of these numerological sort of synchronicities that I can tangibly show you, it brings it to light. It shows you how connected it is. 13 is also a Fibonacci number. And the next presentation we will do will be on day 13, right around that eclipse. Here's what I showed Archaics back in September. I said, did you know that if you take 138 and you divide it by the product of pi and phi, it gives you a number called, that doesn't have a name, but it's 5.08. If you divide that into 138, you get precisely the sidereal cycle of the moon in days. That's just using the Phoenix constant and pi and phi. Okay, so you get the precise days, which I think is super interesting. It just goes to show you that we're actually kind of tied in, that it's all coded. If you put Phoenix constant in the phi cipher, you get 85, which reduces to 13, because you can do that in numerology too. You take the compound number, add it together, and then reduce it. You can even reduce 13 to 4. So that's interesting. So here we have the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse noted here. Actually, we just have the solar eclipse. We have the solar eclipse on day 0, which is March 29th. And the reason I wanted to focus on March 1st was not only because it's 21 days from the star point, it's also the day Venus is moving retrograde, but it is precisely 27.1 days away from the next eclipse, the next solar eclipse. You remember all those spirals we just drew? Well, draw circles now. Draw overlapping circles out. These are reverberations in fourth dimensional time space of this particular event right here. X marks the spot. So we have a lunar eclipse right before the star point, and then we have a solar eclipse right after the star point. And we have an eclipse point today or tomorrow, which is also day 21, which is also Venus retrograde. So these eclipse points are important because eclipses will trigger these events for us. They can either be emotional or they can be unresolved issues. You know, once you start tapping into these energies, they're a little less disruptive. You can use them for your own manifestation and, you know, kind of coordinating your life the way you want it. But it's always good to kind of know to be ready. The energy of eclipses will reverberate out in space-time in the 4 dimensions. So forward in time and backward in time, we get these eclipse points. And it is marked by when the moon returns to the same place in the actual sky, which is 19 degrees Pisces. Okay, so just think of it as like a rock in the proverbial 3-dimensional, 4th-dimensional quantum foam that sends out ripples, and that we feel those ripples before the event and also afterwards. So it helps us anticipate future events. The first one, which was in January, there were fires. The second one, there were plane crashes. I'm not saying horrible events were happening, but things are coinciding with these eclipse points, at least for the collective energy and for the chaos energy that I'm pretty sure is nascent with eclipses. So again, Venus will be at 21 degrees when she stays, because this is We're going into March 1st now. Yeah. So she'll be at 21 degrees. Nagas is 21. 21 is the 21 days to go. You can spell Eclipse Point in this Phi cipher, and you get 56. And like I said, one of the fun things you can do with numerology is go to the periodic table. If you grab the element barium, which is element number 56, its atomic mass is 137. So it's like, wow, okay. Now that's related to the fine structure constant. If you want, you can also put eclipse point 1 in there and you get 57. Watch what happens with 57. That's also an element. That's 138. So no matter how you slice it, this eclipse point is associated with this pattern break energy. There's an angle in astrology that I've added to my software called the Phoenix angle or the golden angle that is precisely this many degrees, 137.5 from any two luminaries on your chart. Some of you have been getting readings and you have Phoenix angles. I've been reading those for you. That's been really interesting. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look back in the sky and see what kind of energies are here. We have March 1st of 2025. Those digits all add up to 13. Isn't that fun? You can also do it this way, but you still get 49, which reduces to 13. Venus retrograde is 55 in the Phi cipher. 55 is the 130th decimal digit of pi. There's your 1-3. There's your 1-3. Watch this. So 55 in pi is 130. 13 is the 55th decimal digit in the Phi string. So there you have 55 and 13 in two different manners of analysis related to one another, related to their Fibonacci sequence. 55 and 13. I mean, wow. Like, if you guys are not mind blown yet, I don't know what to tell you. This, because I laughed when I saw these. I was just like, this is amazing. You can also spell out day 21, and it's 55 as well. So we are really definitely tapping into this Fibonacci sequence just with the numerology connections. The numeric string of 49 appears at the 57th decimal digit of pi. 57 is lanthium. So once again, it's the eclipse point. So you can take, 49, you can take 13, you can take eclipse point 1, eclipse point by itself, and we're getting back into the pi, phi, and the fine structure constant. This is the day of the year of a chart that you can get from Cosmic Sugar, and March 1st is the 60th day of the year. 60 is 281, and 281 is the 72nd decimal digit at the golden ratio sequence. So, okay, so what's 72? Y'all haven't seen that, have you? Some of you have. This is the star. You guys remember the star we've been building? It's right here. So these are the Venus star points. And the angles that are made in these smaller triangles here is 72 degrees. This angle right here is 36. So if you see the number 36, that's also important. So all of these Y, Z, W, V, and X angles are 36 degrees. And then here's the 108, which is associated with the pyramid and Mayan timelines and calendars. So yeah, it's all connected, you guys. It's all connected. You can also take the day of the year card. So in the cards of illumination, each day of the year is assigned a card, a birthday card. And tomorrow's birthday card is the 9 of spades. 9 of spades is 48. 48 just opens up this whole other can of snakes here, because you have Triskaideka, which is of 13. That's what that means in Latin. And that is 48. Higher is 33. Higher self is 48. Ophiuchus is 48. Ophiuchus is the 13th sign. And Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer. And the white snake is 48. So that's really interesting. I think we're there. So there was just a little decode, guys, nothing too big or intense. But what you're going to get for March 22nd is going to be amazing. I'm going to pop out of here and see how you guys are doing. And then we'll look at Venus through the houses. How's that so far? Does everybody get that? Does everybody sort of understand where we're coming from? That, I might look a little complicated and confusing, but basically the energy that I want you to understand is that I feel like with numbers and with coding, we're being told something that is fundamentally true. Okay, something that we need to pay attention to. There's a sequence, there's a line of code that we can read in the sky. And it also taps into these fourth dimensional metaphysical energies, white serpentine energy, which is Venus and Pisces, which I think is just amazing if you see all these synchronicities. So what do you guys think about that? Cooley says this presentation was over my head. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you check out the playlist, that might help. I've been telling people to do that so that today would be more pleasant for them, so they weren't just like, what is she talking about? But Cooley asks, how does the 9 of spades translate to 48? Oh, that is easy. So if you were to look at those decoding resources that I shared with you at the beginning, let me open these and share my screen. Open with photos. Let's just take a minute to do that because that'll make sense. So we grab the card from here. So March 1st is the 9 of spades. If you put the playing cards in order, you get a number with it. So 9 of spades is card number 48. And this is just the accepted pattern. So you can see that that's why I chose the number 48, because in order of the list of cards, it's kind of like the periodic table where these elements are in a certain order based on their atomic weights. Well, these are in a certain order based on their elements and their numbers and how they associate with there's 52 cards, 52 weeks in the year. The playing cards hold a lot of symbolic significance. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So you get it, Cooley. All right. Yeah, and we'll do that with the tarot sometimes too, because you can relate. So, for example, the 9 of spades is also the 9 of swords, and that gives you a different number. And there's all kinds of ways you can go. I just didn't want to overwhelm you guys with too much decoding because of how much information and energy we have to sort of sift through when we look at the astrology. Lori says, I literally understood the 137 yesterday. Like I've never heard it in my life, but it's like, oh, that's what they've been talking about. Yeah, once it clicks, it clicks. You just have to keep listening. I think I'm repeating myself enough that you guys should be able to catch on. I hope it's not too much. Okay. Well, the astrology of Pisces through the house will not be too much. I think you guys will really get into this. So let's see if we can dive into the houses. All right. So I'm going to open this back up. Put that there. Okay. We need to do a little preface first before I get into this. So how the rest of this will go, I just want to remind everybody that all my links are below. If you need anything, if you want to work with me, you have questions, you can just check me out there. Join the Fellowship of 13 Signs. Stay tuned for Athens interview and the shorts from what we're going to do next. That way you can refer back to it, and it's just a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is basically give you a quick little 30-second to 1-minute primer on how to find your space in the chart that you need to focus on and what this reading might mean. And then I'm also going to get this up so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, cool. There we go. All right. So Venus retrograde dates and degrees. So we station retrograde at 21 degrees of Pisces, which if you are into tropical and you know your tropical chart really, really well, Venus is going to station retrograde at 11 degrees of Aries. And she will make her star point at 3 degrees of Aries and then station direct at 25 degrees of tropical Pisces. But for us, she's staying in Pisces the entire time. So 21 degrees of Pisces is today and tomorrow. On the 22nd of March, you guys won't believe this. Look at this. She's at 13 degrees of Pisces. Like, stop it. I mean, okay. So when I do that decode, that'll be pretty mind-blowing, I think. I don't know why my pen won't show up. There we go. 13 degrees. And then we station direct at 5 degrees. I want to remind you of the energy of houses. So if, for example, you have Pisces in the first house, it's about you, the I am. If it's in your second house, it's about your things that you have, the things that you treasure, your gold, your stuff, all of that. Third house is how you think and learn and process and analyze. The fourth house is how you feel, how you nurture the inward self, family. The fourth house could also be mother and father. The fifth house is expression, play, joy, romance. The sixth house is service, work. How do you work? How do you serve? How do you give? How do you do what must be done? What are you an expert in? The seventh house is partnerships. It's I partner, I connect, I collaborate. Actually, 11th house is connect, but 7th house is more of that one-on-one kind of partnership. 8th house is how you transform. The houses that are there, excuse me, where your sun is, all of that can speak to how you transform. The 9th house is what you know, and not just K-N-O-W, but G-N-O-gnosis, right? This is like, I know, like it's the deep knowing, the higher wisdom, the higher learning knowledge. The 10th house is work. It's your public image, how you're seen out there in the world, your legacy. The 11th house is connecting, collaborating, inspiring, breaking free. The 12th house is about your dreams. It's about solitude. It's about the higher hyperconscious and subconscious realms, the astral plane. Okay, so just remember that's what the houses actually mean. So we're going to take all of this amazing, juicy Venus Pisces retrograde energy, and we're going to take it through the houses one by one. All right. So if your natal Pisces is in your first house, here's what it looks like, guys. This means that you're shedding your skin. You're coming, like if we're staying with the serpent energy, you're shedding the old and bringing in the new. This is first house. This is about you. This is about how your appearance, how your energy, how your magnetism is going to shift. Something in your creative energy, this is Venus we're talking about, guys. Something in your creative energy has been swelling, and you're about to be reborn, so to speak, as Venus makes the switch from evening star to morning star. So in Pisces, you're dissolving old labels. You're stepping into a new expression of your essence. There's also an initiation here for you, and it's a test of your self-worth and identity. It's very important, first house Pisces, to release outdated versions of yourself and embody a new radiance. Get ready. It's a big shift. First house Pisces. All right, I've moved this for us to the second house. So this is Venus and Sun at the Venus Star Point, right in the center of retrograde in Pisces in the second house. So think of this white serpent here. What is she going to be like in the second house? She's going to be coiling around that treasure chest. Okay, Venus retrograde is going to force you to reevaluate what you value. What do you love? What do you don't love? What do you not love? What relationships are working for you? What sort of financial plans are working for you or not working for? And even what beauty means to you. Pisces is super artistic. So the illusions of money dissolve, and hidden wealth might even be revealed here because Pisces is hidden. It's underneath. So some sort of hidden treasure could be found. The initiation here for Pisces in the second house is a test of abundance and self-worth. Do you chase after the false gold, or do you recognize the currency of the soul? Very deep energy here for the stuff that we have. Super interesting placement. Venus tends to rule the second house too. So this is a good combination of energy. Now, if you have your natal Pisces in the third house, I've moved it here for you. Don't forget to go get your free chart so you know exactly where your early degrees of Pisces is. Remember, this is about the mind, communication, intuition. Think of this serpent. What does this serpent do? It speaks to you, but in riddles, right? So we have the speaking and the communicating, but Pisces makes it non-coherent. It's like a riddle. It's something that you need to solve, right? So deep downloads, altered perceptions, synchronicities, all that stuff that just feels too synchronous to be coincidence should happen. This is intuitive gifts also expanding and being birthed. You must discern, though. Pisces has a rough time with discernment between the true wisdom and the fog of illusion. And only you really know how to tap into that. Only you really know what's true for you. Be very careful with your words here if you have Pisces in third house, because words are spells. The words we speak change things, so speak very carefully. The initiation here for you in Pisces with the third house it's a test of mental clarity and intuition, right? Remember that discernment. Are you listening to your higher mind, or are you stuck in these old mental loops that keep you in that code breaking phase where there's no aha moments? There should be an aha moment here for you. All right, if you were born with Pisces in your fourth house, remember this is home, family, ancestral karma. What does this serpent do? This serpent coils around the roots of the family tree, okay? Old emotional wounds, karmic family patterns, they may rise to the surface during this time for you. So ancestral clearing, emotional healing, reconfiguring your sense of home. Where is home? Where's home for you? You may also note that a long lost connection or some sort of childhood type energy may resurface for you during this transit. And the key initiation for you here is it's going to test your emotional security. Are you clinging to the past? Are you rooting for trying to bring back the old days? Or are you looking forward to the future? That's what you need to be asking yourself here. Build that strong foundation of the self, but definitely move and look forward to the future. That North Node there is not joking. It's we're talking about Venus and Sun, but the North Node is there also influencing this energy. And so a forward-looking gaze from a strong rooted past. Now we have Venus in the fifth house in Pisces. So if you were born with Pisces fifth house, this is about love, creativity, passion, and children, right? What does this white serpent feel like in the fifth house? Well, this is probably flickering between the past and future excitements. So like there's, or love or crushes or surges of inspiration. You're probably in one place and then the other, just kind of circling and slithering through each place. You may have issues with old flames, unfinished creative projects, and the return of childhood things as well. There's an alchemy here of passion and expression. It's rekindling, perhaps a divine romance even. Pisces is full of love and juicy, creative energy too. So there might be some of that, rekindling someone that you have good chemistry with here. So it's a test of love and creative power. That's your initiation here. What truly sets your soul on fire? Pick the one thing and go for it. Don't flicker between. Just pick the one thing and go for it here. It's easier to focus in Pisces if you're focusing on one thing. Now we move to Pisces in the sixth house. This is health, daily rituals, your work, your service. So imagine the serpent here moving through the meridians of your body, right? As you open up that chakra system and you allow that energy to rise, it's moving through your actual meridians. And This can be energetic imbalances coming to the front, dietary changes, getting rid of old habits, addictions, things like that could be on the forefront here. Those are things that you might want to purge and disseminate and let go of. Your work routine may shift here as well. You may be moved from day shift to night shift or vice versa if you're a shift worker with Venus here, or you may be asked to do that. Also, if you control your own workflow, what you've been doing may not feel productive anymore, and you may need to change it and switch to something else. So the initiation here is a test of your body's wisdom. Are you honoring your daily rituals? Or are you resisting any changes that you feel like you need to make? So I would say that's sixth house. Seventh house, Pisces. So this is the area of relationships. So here, the serpent is going to shed old contracts. No, you are not locked into anything. Not at all. Soulmates might return in this energy. So if you've been separated from a soulmate or a twin flame, this is really good energy to reconnect, to bring that back. If you're already connected to somebody, some connections may deepen. In fact, some connections may even dissolve here too. So if you're in a partnership or you're attached to someone, that may be feeling old and stale. Just the idea here is that there's a shift from one energy to the next. So relationship pattern will change with the same partner. The partner may change, a new partner may come in. It just depends on your situation. So there's also the energy of romanticizing illusions here, right? Is this relationship something that you're fantasizing illusions around? Like, what is the reality of it? You may not actually realize the reality of it until this actual moment has passed. So the test here, the initiation here in seventh house is relational alignment. Do your partnerships reflect your highest evolution? And that's the question you have to ask. If the answer is yes, keep doing it. The eighth house. This is sex, power, death, secrets, all the sort of taboo energies, going deep, investigating. And here the serpent guards the underworld gates. This is where the serpent lies. And Venus retrograde is going to trigger a deep soul revival, I feel like here. This is like past life, lovers, financial entanglements, all that can come through and be worked through. Sexual energy is also heightened here. Old fears, power struggles, hidden truths may surface. So anything in this can also be relationship energy, but much more deep and emotional. Not just does this partner suit me, my highest goal, but how is this partner transforming me? Is more of the question we ask in the eighth house, because we're still working with others here. So how does this partnership transform you is what the eighth house is going to bring. So the initiation is like intimacy and surrender, because don't we face that sometimes with relationships? Is like, where is that fine line between completely dissolving yourself for the other, maintaining your own boundaries and being yourself, or completely surrendering to the love energy? So that's what this initiation is about. It's about surrender and intimacy. Are you afraid of your own power, or are you ready to embrace transformation? The eighth house is deep for you, Pisces. Now, if you have Pisces in the ninth house, this is spirituality, higher knowledge, expansion energy. Think of this serpent as moving through the ancient texts, like where the actual words on the book become the serpentine energy. They rise off the book. They start to swirl around in energetic currents. They enter your field and into your mind. This is the serpent energy of the ninth house. So it's a return to forgotten spiritual teachings, past life wisdom, or teachers from the past may show up. You may actually be in a position where you revisit old belief systems and realize that they no longer fit you. Or you find the hidden codes in ancient philosophies. So raise your hands if you are a ninth house Pisces, because you're probably loving these decodes. All right, let's see. The initiation here for ninth house is a test of belief. So are you living by outdated dogma, or are you expanding into new dimensions of truth? That's the question you have to ask yourself, ninth house Pisces. 10th house Pisces. All right. So this is career, public image, the soul calling. The serpent here sits on the throne. This is the king of the serpents here, okay? King of the serpents of Pisces. So we can expect career shifts here, public perception changes, unfinished professional issues resurface. So this is actually on the edge of my 10th house right here, kind of in this space. So there could be, a shift in how I do what I do coming through with this Venus. I think there will be because I'm trying to consciously work with it. So anything in your workspace, you might, again, this might be a promotion of some sort. It might be completely getting rid of what you've been doing to elevate yourself to something that you've never actually tried before. So there could be some of that mixed in with this. So it's like, what is your destiny path? Have you been chasing the wrong dream, or are you stepping into the right one? And that's the question you have to ask yourself as these waves come through. So the key initiation here is the test of legacy, right? Does your work actually reflect your soul calling? If you can answer yes, you're in good shape with 10th house Pisces. 11th house Pisces. So here, this is community, dreams, and collective influences. And this white serpent coils around the cosmic web, the crystalline grid that connects all of our energies. That's where this serpent coils. It goes between us. So when I transmit energy to you, it's moving through me, out of me, into you. You process it and you send it outwards. That's how this 11th house energy should work. It has to do with friendships too. So some friendships, some alliances may return that you haven't seen in a while, or or what you've been doing may dissolve completely. So something that you set into manifestation years ago might be ripening right now with this 11th house energy. But first, you have to release outdated collective roles. So what's your place in the collective? What are you doing? Is it still serving you? Is it still serving your collective? And is there a change that you need to make? And then finally, we have 12th house Pisces. So this is mysticism. This is the subconscious. This is the hidden realms. Those of you with 12th house Pisces, you guys are probably not chatting in the chat with me. You are very, very inward souls. You're very much hermits. But if you're watching, I see you. Your serpent here vanishes into the void. This Venus retrograde is a deep soul initiation into the unseen realms. Dreams become portals. Psychic abilities are going to activate. And you might experience a full ego death here. The initiation is a test of surrender. Are you willing to lose yourself to find yourself? Wow. So that's through the houses. I did forget to mention the 11th house initiation. So let me go back and do that. So the 11th house initiation is a test of collective alignment. Do your dreams and connections truly serve your soul's evolution? All right. Cool. That's the end of my presentation today. So awesome. Let me get out of here. Get back with you guys. Let's see. Stop sharing. All right. How was that? Let's see where everybody's houses are. Lady Spellbreaker is 2nd and 3rd house. Let's see. 9th house resonated. Good. With Celestial Sugar. Lady Spellbreaker is Mercury and Pisces conjunct Eris in the 3rd house. Oh, wow. So you're having Mercury go over your natal Mercury too. Cooley's a 10th house Pisces. Awesome. Yeah, me too. King of the Serpents. All right, cool. All right. Yep, 13 degrees. Isn't that amazing? I'm telling you, I held back today. I didn't even go like full decode on you because it's so much. There's just so much for Venus. And this retrograde movement is really, really important. I wanted you to understand the dynamics that you're dealing with in all the dimensions. It's not just this chart or just this, stellosphere that you're looking at. There's a 4th dimension to it that we're all in. And the geometry of it's so important. And we can see the geometrical effects. It's quite amazing. Gemini rising. Tropical means, oh, and tropical. Okay, seeking truth. What I would do is go to the free chart calculator on my website, and then it will tell you what house your Pisces in. Because a tropical Gemini rising is a Taurus rising, which means your Pisces is probably 10th or 11th house. But because Pisces is big, it could span a couple of houses. So you want to make sure that you get the right house. Or you can just read both 10 and 11. They can both resonate. Sonia K has Jupiter in her natal Pisces in her 5th house. So yeah, it's an expansion. It's joy and fun. It's a test of your love and your creative power. And Jupiter will just expand that. So that's nice. That's really nice. And Jupiter to be in your natal Pisces is Jupiter's home. It's the spiritual side of Jupiter, the sort of the guru monk version of Jupiter. All right. Cool. All right, my friends. Well, I will leave you with my little short here, and you will be getting, we'll probably go live again. I want to say next Friday. I think that'll be the next live stream. I have to work a little bit this week at the hospital. And we'll have the shorts and we'll have the Athen interview to fill up the time. And then I'll also be sending you guys emails and announcements. So all this is good for this coming week. I hope you guys have a fantastic Venus retrograde. Enjoy the intense energy. Just be nimble. Don't take anything too seriously. Remember, you're the magician and you work with these energies. They're going to guide you, but you work with them. All right. So namaste, y'all. I love you so much. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Bye.